So it turns out dictionary.com is adding a bunch of words to their dictionary.
600 new words, it seems.
So yeah. And I thought it'd be interesting to just sort of look at the words that they're adding.
Yeah.
And like what people's reactions to them are.
Okay.
So there is a new word. This is like an acronym, BIPOC.
Wait, real quick.
Yes.
Dictionary.com. Is this like a real, legitimate...
It's like, yes, it's a real dictionary website.
But it's different than, let's say, Merriam-Webster?
Right. It's
Webster
different, yeah.
Merriam?
It says the world's leading digital dictionary.
The world's leading digital dictionary.
That's what they call themselves.
Okay.
So yeah, they're adding words. So like one of the responsibilities of a dictionary is to track the usage of language. And if there's new words that people are using, that they add them to the dictionary, or they update definitions of existing words to include new usages of words.
Okay.
So this dictionary.com sort of is doing that as well. They're just like, we have a huge database of words that have definitions. We're adding 600 of them.
Okay.
Obviously, the English dictionary, it's not translations of new words in other languages. It's just English.
Okay.
So
got it.
There are some words, though. So like BIPOC, which to me is an acronym and not a word, but you can, I guess there's acronymized words. Like, I'm just trying to think of a few. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
That makes me think like other acronyms could be words like IDK, which means I don't know. But BIPOC is an abbreviation for Black, Indigenous, and People of Color.
Okay.
SponCon, or sponsored content.
What?
Is...
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Yes, I'll zoom in. SponCon.
I don't really.
Yeah.
Like, who's making these up? Is this just like people using them in the world, and then dictionary.com is like, oh, it seems like lots of people are using this word.
I think probably, yeah.
Now.
I think probably, but my guess is that they're not actually like tracking like out loud usages of things.
Right, yeah, it's all just
because this seems to be like online speak. Like, and it seems to be something that somebody like SponCon to me is like, it's also a euphemism. So if you're like somebody who's creating SponCon, you probably don't want to say that it's sponsored content.
Yeah.
You probably want to appear a little bit more savvy with your grift there. So SponCon is just an easier, nicer way to just euphemize sponsored content. Deepfake, I agree with, because that's like a new, completely new thing that people talk about all the time.
I get, okay, like new technologies, that makes sense to me to like add that in. I get that. I'm on board with that.
Finna, which is a way to say fixing to in AAVE.
Okay.
Supposably, here's where we're gonna have some thoughts. Supposably, which is an adverb meaning as may be assumed, imagined, or supposed, is one of the 600 words we just added to dictionary.com. So
no, dictionary.com.
I think a reason that this is bad, or it could be bad, is that it's just when people say supposably, they're just either intentionally or unintentionally mispronouncing supposedly.
Yes. Like that should not actually, that's not the word.
Right.
Like it comes from supposed.
I can see the argument, though, that if enough people use supposably...
But it's wrong, though. So, like, keep going.
Yeah, maybe it's wrong, but, like, does the usage make it right at some point?
I don't think so.
Like, because language isn't a static thing, right? It's not like here's this language and it never changes.
Sure.
There's correct usages of words that used to be correct that if you looked at it now, you'd be like, no, that's an incorrect usage.
Okay.
Even though, just because like over the passage of time, people started using that word in a way that was different than its intended or first usage. So I could see this. Like, what bothers me about it is that I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like supposably. I think I would probably never use it.
Yeah.
Except for maybe an ironic way, like during a comedy show or something.
I think probably when I was younger, I'm sure that I've used this word like this, thinking that it was correct. But then at some point along the way, I realized that that's not actually the correct word, and so I switched to the correct word.
So let's look at, just for a second here,
Okay.
the ratios on some of these tweets.
Yes.
So, for example, Finna, 7,000 people are like yes, 340 people are like no. Or like maybe not.
Not like no, they just commented.
Sure, but look at the ratio of supposably.
Yeah.
1.8 thousand people said okay. 2.8 thousand people commented on it.
Yeah.
And some of the comments here, if we just look at what supposably.
Yeah.
Why? Someone says, that is not a word. It is something a toddler says when they cannot say supposedly. What's next? Paschetti?
Ooh.
Exactly. This is like,
Yep.
so people are basically doing a slippery slope logical fallacy here, essentially, but
Okay.
it illustrates the point of like, at what degree are we going to stop trying to include mispronunciations and like mistakes as like real words? And maybe if the mistake is used more than the actual like word, then it would make sense.
I don't even think that.
I doubt that it's being used more.
You know what? I don't know. I feel like it could be used more, but I don't think that is necessarily a reason to add it to the dictionary. Not that they're taking away like the actual word supposedly, but
yeah, it's so. I'm going to read some conflicting comments here. So, way too many people here forgetting the purpose of a dictionary. If it's being regularly used in written or oral communication, it should be included. Sorry if it offends your sensitive sensibilities. Sensitive sensibilities. All right. But languages evolve, and it's nice to have a record of that. Sure. I'm there on some level. I'm also with this guy who says, so because people are stupid and can't pronounce or spell supposedly correctly, we're going to reward them for their continued ignorance. Okay. I don't think getting an entry in a dictionary.com website is a reward for, like, I don't think that anybody's like tallying that up at the end of the year and being like, oh, I've been rewarded for my stupidity by getting a dictionary. I've been retroactively proven smart in all of my misuses of the word supposedly over the years, because now it's a word. Somebody says, gasp, language evolves, the horror. Yeah.
It's just when it's evolving incorrectly.
Right? Somebody says, like, okay, like, what about nuclear? Should that be a word?
Right.
Like, mispronunciations.
Yeah, like there's so many mispronunciations, and I just don't think that means it should be a real word just because it's being mispronounced.
I don't believe that the tweet is a hate crime, but this guy got 3,000 likes for that. Yeah.
Okay. What other words?
So another one, embiggen, which is to make or become bigger.
Embiggen.
Which I like that one. I've used it.
You have?
Yeah, I've used it.
I've never heard that.
It's just embiggen. Like, or like zooming in. When you're like zooming in on something, you say like embiggen it. Embiggen this.
I'm okay with that one. 'Cause it's not like based on
But I think this is like an
the incorrect
interesting sort of discussion on like how do we define languages and how do we like enforce languages?
Mm-hmm.
Should we be enforcing the use of a language? Like, should it be? I guess my question is too. Like, if you're a teacher for someone who's like English second language, like an ESL student,
Mm-hmm.
are you teaching them supposably or supposedly?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah,
What do they learn?
If they're both words in the dictionary, yeah,
And they're both equally valid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is interesting.
What happens to all the English teachers' red pens that go unused at this point? By definition of this, like if every time somebody's word is incorrect, they're still using it.
Yeah.
They're using the word. So therefore, and if I know what it means, then it's correct essentially.
Yep.
So I can't say like, oh, this is wrong spelling, or like, oh, this is the wrong usage of this definition, because they're using it in a way that's incorrect. So doesn't that mean that the definition... So like, what's the threshold? Is it one person using it? Is it everyone using it?
That's a great question. Yeah. Like I wonder how they determined that this word should be in the dictionary. Was it like, yeah, how many people on the internet, I assume, where they were looking, like, were using the word this way?
I'm sure there's a methodology that I'm not willing to look up.
Yeah.
But I'm also sure that there's like a bit of this that is, oh, hey, we're a website and we need clicks. And so therefore some of these words we're adding are going to be controversial for a reason. And we might go back on it in a month. They might have another viral post in a month that's like, you know what? Supposably has been removed.
Yeah.
I don't expect that to happen, but...
Due to people being upset on Twitter.
Yes, the main driver of all policy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like, I'm fine with new words being added to the dictionary. I think it makes sense as language evolves, as technology evolves, as communication evolves. I think that makes sense. But yeah, errors to me should not be included.